Give us a whole history of Skull Island and why hey, we're going to Skull Island. Okay. That's it. You don't need the whole fucking build-up.
You need a little bit of history.
I don't think so.
Because you need it to...
But you can deliver that kind of on the run, like while people are investigating Skull Island. Holy shit, there's this big bug thing. Well, the whole reason we came here, and then you find out the guy had a kind of an insidious blah, 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 blah.
Godzilla, where they took the opening credits and used that to do it. And it's like, that's better than seeing titles the whole time or going through clouds or something.
Good point.
Like, after that. All right. Welcome to Watching Complain, watchingcomplain.com.
Biz.
I didn't get that one. On this episode, we are talking about Halo.
Hello?
Halo.
Halo.
Halo 3 and 4. Episodes 3 and 4.
I did have some actual notes on Halo 3 and 4. So the opening of show number 3, they go to a garbage planet, right?
Oh, is this Madrigal or something else?
No, it's the garbage planet where you're finding the chosen one for the first time.
Yeah, the girl chosen one.
Yeah, they go to garbage planet, or they're flashing back to garbage planet, and there's people living in the garbage or living amongst the garbage. Yeah. But then also
they're like slaves.
Yeah, but are they? Because then
it's really weird because
then the soldiers come after. They're like, get out of here, and they're shooting at them. But don't they work in the garbage?
It looks like slave labor.
But why shoot them then?
I think the whole point shoot because they can. They're like cops these days in this day and age, especially in the United States, where it's like I can get away with it. So if I can shoot them in the back as they're running away,
it just seems counterproductive. Because they were like, I couldn't figure out why they were firing at them. I'm like, don't they work in the garbage?
They could say, oh, they were trying to fight me, and that was my defense.
Yeah, they got garbage fell on them and they died.
Or it could be like we have a whole bunch of slave labor, like people are going to die.
Yeah. I
they
guess
don't care about them.
That initial opening, I'm like, I don't. It was confusing right out of the gate. I'm like, I don't get what that's happening. And maybe again, I'm being too literal with that opening part. I find it a little off-putting. I'm like, why are they trying to kill them?
I think the whole idea of that whole scene, aside from getting one of the special people, is that this is like the lower end of whatever the military is called there.
The UNSC?
Yeah. And they're like, we know from later on in the episode, or the next episode, that they are doing experiments of another kind, whereas this is more like a slave labor camp that is down low on the thing that no one knows about or cares about.
It's for you.
Thank you.
From the president.
It looks like
onion.
Or an apple.
Ooh.
Apple
onion.
I feel like Perry Mason.
Should be.
Angela Lansbury. Murder, She Wrote. Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that Angela Lansbury. I'm willing to bet that Angela Lansbury was like super hot when she was younger, but like very, like.
But Rob, there's a picture right there. I don't.
Murder, eroticism. She wrote, murder of my sex life. All right. So the other thing is, how do the Covenant not drool all the time? Because their mouths don't close.
Maybe they don't have the drooling thing.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
They're different genetic.
Because his mouth is always flapping, and I'm like, how's that guy not drooling all over the place?
Maybe they have technology that
also
dries their mouth. That's why they're so angry all the time.
I finally had a video game flashback where when the way they put Cortana into the way they suck out Cortana.
Keep talking. I'm gonna fix something.
The way they suck out Cortana out of the clone is they move the cigarette and then drive it right into her eyeball. For anyone that ever played Dead Space 2, they'll remember there's a part of the game where you gotta be kind of moving the cigarette and you have to drive it into the guy's eyeball to get something to proceed in the game. But what's cool is if you like are a bit too close to the side and poke it through, you kill him and blood starts spraying everywhere and shit. So I was feeling serious Dead Space 2 vibes while I was watching that go by.
Never played it, but there's a remake coming.
Ooh, that'd be all right.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed Dead Space. I heard Dead Space 3 is kind of shit because that's where they bring on another guy to play with you.
From what I understand, that was more like a money grab.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Number 3.
I've never played it.
And Dead Space 2 was more of a good sequel, and Dead
Yep.
Space 1 was the original classic everyone loved.
It was great. Yeah, I loved it.
I don't like that type of game, so I never got into it.
Baby.
But,
I remember his
but-
name. I remember his name was fucking Isaac.
You'll probably
I
like the
remember
remake.
that. I remember playing that game and enjoying it so much. I remember the guy's fucking name. I'm getting real Uncanny Valley vibes from Cortana. I see where they're going, and it's good. It looks good. But when you first see Cortana and she's like, "Hi, I'm Cortana," and she's talking, I'm like,
Yeah.
something's not,
Yeah, it
something's
feels
off.
off, yeah.
Something doesn't look right.
I think that's the point.
I think so, but and if so, I think they achieved it.
The weird thing is, as you're going through, like, onto the next episode, the end of that episode, you're getting used to it.
You are, and for me, I think it's because Cortana shows less emotion in that second episode. They're trying to get her like be hurt by the Master Chief, and whenever her face tries to show emotion, like remember when the Master Chief is like, "Who are you? Turn off, shut up for a minute." She's like, "Oh," and she's all offended. Whenever she starts showing emotion, I'm like, "Don't do that. Just
like
have
that.
But to me, that's where the Uncanny Valley thing starts
That's
to
where
come
things
in.
are going, because it's going to be like she, just like a regular person, she's developing a bond with him, and she
Maybe.
like in the game, I think she becomes like
His go-to. Yep.
yeah, like,
But I mean, when in the
if
next episode,
not more.
in the next episode where they're going to his house, she's like, "Yeah, Chief, I don't have enough to be able to build the outside of that." Like, it's never delivered with, "Oh, Chief," like she's
not
never
there yet.
But I don't want her to be. I like her non-emotive, emotive enough to just feel it in her voice, but not her face. Because when her face starts doing it, that's when the Uncanny Valley comes in.
Kind of like that other Marine, that other soldier.
Yes, Sadie or something. The blood hair. I called it
blonde-
blood hair.
Yeah. That was interesting. But yeah, I like her. Is she the one from? Let me get to it. Game of Thrones.
I don't
She's
remember her in
not.
Game of Thrones. Oh, Bree? No. Not
Okay.
Bree. Bree, the lady. Big, no, that's not her.
Okay, because she gives me vibes of her.
But that lady
Are you
is
sure?
the same. Yep, that lady is the same lady that plays Captain Phasma in Star Wars. That matters.
Yes, I know that.
But no, she's not. Bree of Tarth. Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah, she gives me those vibes because she talks like her, and
But no,
like
it's
that
not-
voice sounds similar.
I'm 99% certain that's not her.
I'm gonna have to look it up now.
The Worms Out of Nowhere was cool.
That was cool.
I like that a lot.
You
That
got
was
a
fun,
little
man.
a little tease of it first in the costume, like it looked like one of the bad guys. What are they called?
Bad guys.
Bad
Covenant?
guys. Yeah, one of the Covenant soldiers, but like it was in its armor or something.
I just
and then-
fucking love how they're and she's the scoop to do walking around doing her thing and these worms explode in nowhere. I had a ball watching that scene. The other thing that was again just
talk,
kind
I'm
of
gonna-
because I'm taking it a little too literal is wouldn't the Master Chief appear to be losing his mind to people who are around him? Because you see him a couple times, he's like, "Cortana, where am I gonna Cortana, well, what about that thing? What do you mean? I don't know what are you talking about?" It sounds like he's talking to himself because he practically is. But if he's around people and let's say he's walking and he stops, "Cortana, what do you mean? Cortana, what do you?" He just stopped fucking dead and he'd start talking to Cortana. You'd be like, "Okay, this guy's kind of lost his mind because he's he's just standing there talking to himself." Another thing that has to be said. Where do you stand on masturbation and Cortana's part in that? Because if I had
I
Cortana
was going
implanted
to
in my
ask you
head,
the same thing. I found the girl, by the way, Kate Kennedy.
oh yeah, okay,
She's different for
yeah,
sure.
that's not her. I'd be using Cortana for some disgusting stuff, you know.
But you can't. She's not in your control. That's the problem.
But she can effectively take over your body, so
But then you're still doing
she
the
could
same thing.
she could talk to you. She could say all sorts of disgusting shit. She can make you see things.
No, I agree. It would be great, but then you'd want more.
Well, she's right there. Why couldn't you have more?
You couldn't have her like you could a woman or a man, whatever you're into.
But I think I don't know. I think I'd be okay with it.
Like she could be a third wheel.
Now, see, but she'd be right in your head. I mean, imagine the ideology of someone that's right in your head, knows so much exactly what you want, and can preemptively deliver the shit.
She could do it like virtually, like she's
That's
like
what I
a
mean.
VR unit.
But she knows like the really weird, fucked up stuff that you're into, and she can do it and be like, "Okay, I'll do this."
I wonder
you
if
know?
there's anything that blocks her from reading certain parts of your mind.
I don't think so. I think there was stuff that she wanted to be able to do that they said, no, we're not going to give you access to everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe
maybe those parts,
like,
eh?
Because like she can't take control of his body, for instance.
Yep.
So maybe she can't take control of his mind.
But you have to imagine. Oh no, I guess Cortana never really was a human being. Because I guess for Cortana, like having a penis, she wouldn't care. It's just there.
Her mind was taken from a clone of the scientist doctor.
But I don't think her sex was ever important. You know what I mean? Like
I think it's pretty obvious.
It is obvious, but I mean, like, it was never. She was a woman, and now being inside a man or inside a man's brain, she's like, "Oh, this is amazing. You guys think about some weird shit." Like the sex part of it was never the gender, I should say, part of it was never.
I don't think it was ever thought about during the process because the soldier doesn't think of those things.
Yeah. Okay.
But now that he's taken out the thing,
the pellet. Yeah. But do you think a boy Cortana would act differently than a girl Cortana? See, I think
I think it depends on the brain that it came from.
See, I don't think it does because I think they just act a specific way all the time. It'd just be like Siri. Siri thinks the same whether you've got a boy's voice or girl's voice. It's what you bring to it that makes her different.
You still have the brain mapping, which means I would assume that certain actions, certain what's the word, like things that you do specifically based off of learning
and how they act toward you,
like those little things are going to come through.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I was just like, I'd be jacking off a lot with Cortana. The other thing,
do you think she would be like, she'd just walk away? She'd be like, I'm turning myself off right now because this is gross.
Or she'd be like, Cortana, give me a minute. She'd be like,
again?
Like she'd just be kind of looking at the ceiling, looking at the ground.
You can't control her either. It's vice versa. So you can't be like stand there with pretend your clothes are off. Like you can't.
Like
unless
Cortana
she's into
acts
it.
super into it. She'd be like, "Oh, Master Chief, oh, you drive me wild." Like you'd see that she's totally full of shit.
But then you get into this whole AI question of treating them like slaves. But like, at what point are they their own entity?
Yep. That's a good point.
And that's why this whole thing was banned. Well, cloning was banned. That's one part of it. But also making AI self-relevant.
Also, you know what I like?
What?
Is they say the whole thing about cloning and why they've closed it. And then they're like, she's just like, okay, I'm going to fucking go and do it with Cortana. You know what's great about that? Is we don't get a despicable, long-winded shit show like Picard that's all just about, hey, let's make this entire season about talking why cloning's bad. And let's the whole time go, cloning's bad.
It's not rammed down your throat, but it's there.
Part of the story. Yep.
You know that like it's been a talking point, and it will be a talking point. And it doesn't need to be a constant talking point throughout the episode.
I will say another thing, too, that I liked is it feels... The show does not feel like it's taking up 54 minutes. It feels like they've got about maybe 15, 20 minutes of story and then a lot of just kind of action and just kind of superfluous. Ooh, look at this massive CG scale that we're doing and Master Chief looking cool and his team looking cool. But it feels like the actual story it's not, there's not a whole ton of story crammed in is what I'm trying to say.
We've gotten to the point where it's bouncing between three story elements.
One that needs to go away quickly.
Oh, you're talking about Madrigal.
Yeah, I call it not Dave Chappelle and Cookie Kwan. They need to go away. He was in something as Ghostbusters. He was in the Ghostbusters Afterlife. He was the sheriff. Oh, that's right.
And as soon as I saw him in the theater, I'm like, Dave Chappelle, oh my God.
He looks like him, right?
And then you're like, oh, wait, I'm racist.
That's why I call him not Dave Chappelle.
Darn it.
But this whole Madrigal, Cookie Kwan and not Dave Chappelle, like, it's so pedestrian. It's a story that we've all seen 100 times.
I want to see it get to something interesting.
I don't feel like it ever will.
I want it to be good.
I don't think it ever will.
I like when he starts shooting people.
Yeah.
But
he's like...
That takes a while.
But he's like the old kind of gruff
Sheriff
Western
from
desperado guy.
Ghostbusters.
But he's like the old Clint Eastwood gruff, mean guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
He
okay.
plays the same character each time.
But I get that. And Cookie Kwan's got to go and she's got to be sad and she's got to find her aunt and blah, 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 blah. But it's just, I'm like, oh my God, we've seen this so many times in other
gonna
fucking
get you on
stories.
this. Magical reminds me of Middle Eastern Total Recall. Mars.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, like spot on.
When do they get to fucking, what was it called? Venusville.
I'm waiting for someone with three
girl
boobs,
with 3 tits, yep.
and then to open up her face. And
I love the idea of the Master Chief taking out the pellet and starting to discover stuff. Now,
I
that
love
was-
the idea of blonde.
That's what I was
chicks
gonna say.
Watching that and then doing it herself,
the same thing.
and then like that carrying over.
I love where that story is going. There's only one thing it could do that I'm really worried it's going to do that I hope it doesn't. But Blondie grabbing the fucking, it's like blood, I think, and she streaks her hair.
I think it was like engine grease.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like blood. I'm like, oh, this is fucking good.
No, she was playing with her rifle, so it was like rifle
carbine
grease.
goo?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the oil that they use.
But the way she starts talking to the scientist girl, the way they're talking about pets, like I love the direction this is going in because where I think it's going to go.
It went from awkward to actually, I want to be your friend.
But I think it's going to go to she becomes kind of a nutcase. That's where I'm hoping it goes, where Master Chief can control it and she can't, and she goes fucking balls
Which
to the
makes
wall
sense.
crazy.
You're like, I thought it would go faster. Like, what happens when Master Chief is angry?
But what I like is, I mean, they could have done a guy and you would have been like, whatever. But I love the fact that they chose a girl, and we're going to see a girl. Hopefully, I can't say for certain it's going to happen, but I really hope that this girl starts to discover, a whole bunch of shit that she couldn't see with the pellet that was suppressing everything, and she starts to lose it. I am, and they're like, shit, we got to take her down. And it has to be Spartans going after Spartans. There's a whole bunch of reasons why that shouldn't happen due to the way that Spartans are created, but I don't care because I love the way that story is going.
One could say like it could go that the extreme way because they don't know, they haven't felt that for a long time, or it could go the other way where it's like these emotions have been suppressed for so long, it's more gradual to enjoy these emotions.
But see, I'm hoping it goes that it's just an overload of emotion for her that she snaps. The one thing I hope doesn't happen, and it was the end of this show that got me nervous it might, when her and the girl are all alone and she's learning about all these new emotions that she has, and her and this girl are all by themselves.
The language?
No, yeah, they're talking about the language, but it's just her and this other scientist girl's all by themselves, and she's discovering all these new emotions. I'm like, please, God, don't make her the token gay character of this show. Like, don't do that. We don't need that.
I don't see them getting involved.
It snapped into my head for a second when I was watching. I'm like, oh, God, please don't do that. Just have this girl. What would be awesome if she becomes her friend and then she goes and tells Dr. Blonde about her, and then Bloodhair starts seeing her as, holy shit, you fucking, you deceived me. You ratted me out. That would be cool.
Yeah, because scientist girl rather than scientist woman. I'm bad at the names and everything.
I can't remember her name. I know she's Dr. Blonde's daughter.
It's so weird because I thought for a minute they were going into like Master Chief being Dr. Blonde's son.
Nope.
But then they expressly said it during, like they went on another way where it's like she was there when the parents were gone. So that's another thing we should get into. Like we got into that. I guess we can put an end on that conversation because
pin in it.
We'll see where that goes. But the other thing we need to discuss is that whole incident with the Dr. Blonde having something to do with the family on where he grew up, where Master Chief grew up.
Yep.
And my thought process immediately was, oh, it's the mom.
She's the mom.
Like she's the mom, and maybe she cloned herself, and she keeps like that's how she's her age. Like she didn't seem like she's aged enough.
Yeah.
Which confuses me. Maybe it's just one of those things they're not going to explain. But she's playing with cloning. Well, maybe she's a clone, and the clone that is Cortana is a clone of a clone.
Yep.
Or it sounds like
Or
she
there's a
made
bunch
many
of clones. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
So who knows? Maybe she found a way to clone herself and relay her brain,
Okay.
or just pass it on.
Do you think a lot of people, especially guys, because guys are pigs, are a little annoyed that they haven't sexualized Cortana? Because if I recall from the game, she's very voluptuous.
I think they're avoiding it on purpose.
So do I, but do you think, like, it bothers me that there's people out there that are like,
They've already sexualized Master Chief
you think?
in the bathroom.
Why, just by showing his
naked.
butt?
Well, he could have done it with pants on. I'm not complaining.
But
Just, like, he could have had pants on and done it.
But there, I didn't see it. I didn't
He
see
could
that
have just taken his
sexualizing.
shirt off and it. Oh, they sexualized it.
I don't think
They
so.
also sexualized the bad guy, which is weird.
No, I don't think so.
They made it. They made it kind of like that situation where, like,
Oh, when he's in the-
I'm
when he's in
badass
the-
enough, and I'm
know what
going
that
to put
reminded
you
me
in a
of?
position where you have to look at my penis.
When he in Scarface, when Scarface is in the fucking tub and he's smoking, that's what that scene reminded me of.
But okay, so we go back to Dr. Evil, Dr. Blonde. We don't know if she's really evil or if she's in between.
Dr. Blonde.
But she was there. The whole point of Master Chief's situation was he was on this planet with his parents. The Covenant, not the Covenant, the UNSC
You want to see? Yep.
experimented on this planet and created a terraforming, basically.
Yep.
A terraforming dome, and they were living in it. And then something happened. They're saying a plague, and they had to take him
The
away.
whole- yep.
So my thought process is this is how they got the best people
To be Spartans.
to make Spartans.
Oh, okay. See what you mean.
They made an excuse, like this biodome thing.
Yep.
Oh, you created your son. I don't know if they did that on the planet or if it was before.
Right,
but
right.
we brought you because your son is perfect for this program. This is where we can cause the plague to happen and take the son away, and then now he's part of our group.
Yep,
The,
yep.
the starting of
And you'll
that.
never see your parents again because we've given you this whole backstory of, oh, you lost your parents in XX, blah, blah, blah.
And they could have killed the parents, and that's
Yep.
just part of the whole science of it. And
So I don't know. It's possible. I feel like the Master Chief, there's something special about the Master Chief that she recognized early on. That's why the Master Chief has the reputation he does.
that goes hand in hand with what I said, though.
It does. But I feel like
You don't think there's like this grand conspiracy, like everything was
Don't know.
designed to
I feel like
create this kid?
I feel like no, but we'll see. That's the difference. I just read one of my notes. Moon Knight, they're cartoon characters. Like they're just like they're
Comic book character.
but they're literally paper thin. Like there is nothing to these characters at all.
Yeah.
Whereas even though this came from a fucking video game,
The fact that we're talking so much about this,
there's real depth to a lot of these characters, you know, and I know a lot of people probably disagree, but there's real depth to the Master Chief. There's real depth to Dr. Blonde. There's real depth to where this story is going.
I think it helps that we're not into Halo.
Yeah.
Because I think the people that are really into Halo and wanted
Are
this to
annoyed
be-
that it's not going this
they
direction.
wanted it one to one,
Yeah.
and they wanted a lot of canon stuff, and I think it's like deviated from that
Yeah.
and become its own thing.
Well, I also like, you know, that it's not. I kind of wrote in my notes that it reminds me a lot of The Force Awakens, where The Force Awakens was. It was a reboot of A New Hope, sure, but it was also setting up a bunch of stuff. You know, it was like, who's Snoke? Where will the First Order go? What will happen to the Republic? Who is Luke going to train? Who is Rey? Who is Finn? Who is Poe? Like, it sets up all these people. And I feel like this is what this show is. Moon Knight is not. Moon Knight is, hey, here's this guy, Steve, and he's Moon Knight. Also, he's Mark. Okay.
And then here's the funny things between them, kind of.
And it's like-
and then that's it.
And with Master Chief, like, we don't know where he came from. You don't know any of his past. He
There's
doesn't know any of his past.
mystery, there's
We're going to discover it
Paranora.
with him. Like,
Paranora.
Paranora. Yep.
Yeah.
There's so much that could happen here that could never happen in Moon Knight. So,
Could, but you need the right writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this show. I've
Same
gone
here.
from
Yep.
being like the first episode going, we'll see,
Yep.
to like now being like fully interested.
Yeah, I've been interested, but this last show, number 4, really kicked it off for me. I'm like, dude, I really want to see what happens with Blondie, or not with Blood Hair Girl.
Yeah,
I'm going to call her Blood Hair because I thought it was blood she put in her hair.
I think you might have it right. I think blood-haired girl is going to be like the tweener. It's going to be like going to go back and forth into like good and bad, and then you're going to get black dude who's going to be like all angry.
Yep. If they pull their pellets out, though.
I could totally see them playing upon that trope of like the big bad angry dude being the one who cries
when he pulls his pellet out. He's just
weeping in the corner. He's like, "They made me kill my pig," like that kind of thing. I could totally see that being the thing, or he could be like totally angry. Like
I like the idea. If Blood Hair tries to convince him and says, "Some guys, take your pellet out, take your pellet out," and then they take like the possibilities of just total anarchy from that are, and she is really doing a good job. That actress is selling the shit out of it, and I'm really enjoying it.
At first, I wasn't into like her, but she's like I don't mean into her. I just mean like is it a good actor? But now I'm totally vested.
Not to mention, I love the fact that she looks like she could beat the shit out of me, and I'm 100% down with that.
I think each of them will represent an emotion.
Yep.
And it's gonna. I think angry is going to be the other chick.
Yeah, okay.
Because she seems like she's angry all the time.
Yeah.
And then Blondie will be in between. She'll be friendly, and then
I think Blood Hair is going to be neurotic. She's going to be the fucking neurotic one who can't contain it. You know what I mean? It starts to snap. And what would be cool is if what I'm hoping it goes to is the chief is the one that's got to take them all down. That's fucking cool.
I don't know if I don't think it'll be taken down. I think they're going to keep the characters.
I don't think they'll be able to control themselves.
In the game, they're a team.
Like, sure, but you can get a new team.
They're the
what about not Dave Chappelle? Not Dave
know.
Chappelle might come back, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Watch us next week as we watch and complain about episode 5 of Halo.
Halo!
WatchingComplain.com. Now we're going to go into our Hour of Sour podcast.
Sorry, I'm eating.
Watch our channel and subscribe so that you can take a look at all of our content, including Can You Taste It?
And comment on if you don't like me eating or drinking on the show.
Yeah, comment. We just love comments. Just comment. I was thinking of doing a Patreon, but I don't think
no one wants to
join.
fucking pay to talk to us or to hear us.
Not to talk. That would be OnlyFans. You get feet pics. Maybe that will do well.
That's why I don't wear socks.
Put your feet on the table, Rob. You got to start off the episode that way.
There are some people that vehemently hate socks, and other people that vehemently love them. Like, for example,
well, it's not just one or the other. You can be in between.
I don't think so.
Now we need comments. Are you a sock person or are you a feet person?
No, socks or bare feet.
Bare socks.
Bare socks. Do you like wearing bare socks?
I prefer dog socks.
But Dexter, he sleeps with socks on. I don't know how a person can sleep with socks on.
My wife does because her feet get cold, and then they come off throughout the night.
Nope, I can't sleep with socks on. I can barely sleep with pants on.
I can't sleep with
clothes on. So I'm saying.
WatchingComplain.com
for pants.
For pants.